Few moments. Hi, everybody. It looks like we are live on Facebook. Hi, I'm Ryan Lanier with Organizing for Good. It's my favorite time of the week where I visit with an area nonprofit and hear all the beautiful work they're doing. And this week is no exception. So I'd like to welcome Jordan Hope from Fostering Hope. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Ryan. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us.
Very excited to have you here today. It's a beautiful day, a little bit chilly, little fall-like. Oh my gosh, have we been waiting for this? Oh my gosh. So Jordan is the program coordinator for Fostering Hope. So jump right in and please just tell us all the great things you're doing, who you work with, and if you have a little backstory of how it got started, that's great too.
Absolutely. Well, Fostering Hope has been around for some years. So about 15 years ago, our president and founder, Julie Corey, and her husband, Matt, had adopted internationally two of their children. And we're finding that it was hard to find a community of caregivers, of parents. And so they began to put together a conference. And if you're in the Austin area, you might know that we put this on every year. It's called A Future and a Hope. And it really brings either exploring or already engaged foster and adoptive parents together to find resources, to get encouragement, to find community. And so that's been hosted for the last 15 years. And about 5 years ago, we became an official 501c3 nonprofit. And we've been working here in the Austin area. And Fostering Hope, our vision really is that we want every child to have a healing family. And the way that we do that and the way that we present that in our programs is to equip families, churches, organizations, anyone who wants to transform the lives of vulnerable children in their area. And so, I've been here, like Ryan said, my name is Jordan Hope Vetta. I'm the program coordinator here. I've been here about a year, but have been really privileged and blessed to be a part of this ministry in a volunteer context and just a participant context for the last 6 years. I myself have been an aged out parent. I've worked in residential care for teenagers, and I'm an adoptive mom. And so one of the things that we love here is that we all have the lived experience ourselves, whether that be fostering or adopting. And so when we work with the parents and caregivers of these children, we've been there, we've done that. And we can kind of relate on the hard, because sometimes it is hard.
Oh, absolutely. It's not a cakewalk.
For sure. Well, I could share about like our programs and what we've been doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so
Please.
we really have 5 main programs. So we have our ministry advancement, which is kind of how we started. So churches have always been a big part of the foster care and adoptive world. And what we really saw is that we wanted excellence in service to come from the church as well. And so we will partner with churches and ministries and other faith-based activities to just equip them with not just the heart to do it, but the how. And so we believe in professional development and training, and taking that to churches and ministries who have a heart to serve these kiddos. And so that's a big part of how we started and what we've been developing. Along with that, our professional training. And so we have trainers here on staff who we work with other trauma-informed care models, but really we teach TBRI, which is trust-based relational intervention. It's an intervention that came out of TCU some years back, and it's really shown there's a lot of scientific proof in the relational model and how it's healing, especially since, you know, these kids' hurt and harm came from relationships, and so we believe this is going to be it's going to be solved and healed in relationship. And so we really, really work with the people who work with people who have experienced loss and trauma. So that's part of what we do. And then we also believe that a big part of this system is keeping families together and the prevention side of it as well. And so we have a healthy home coaching program where we work with bio parents out in Williamson County who have experienced removal, but are going through a really, really daunting process of trying to get their children back from CPS. And so they agree to enter this program. And in these 3 stages, we step in after the first stage and provide parenting. And so the information and the knowledge that we know that we believe is providing excellence and care, we want parents to know that as well. And so we come alongside them, we train and equip coaches to walk alongside them, and it's completely volunteer basis. And so they really have a friend in this process who's not another attorney or legal person, but really just a family who's, you know, been through some hard things in parenting, who can walk alongside a biological family who's doing it as well. And we equip the coaches, we equip the parents to be able to parent in a way that's healing. And then we get to see them get reunified. So that's a big thing and a new thing that we've been doing. And so, and then our volunteers get to love on them and to spoil them and buy them, you know, all the fun things to be able to get their kids back. And that's just a big, that's just a joy for us to see families stay together. Because that is a big part of the foster care and the adoptive system, is that's that first piece. How do we prevent it? And then our last 2 programs who I get to coordinate, which is so fun. We have a parent support that meets every 2nd and 4th Thursday virtually. And then we get to go through some sort of parenting model, whether it be today we're doing correcting. Later on today, we're going to do how to avoid meltdowns, right? So things that every parent needs. And we work primarily with foster and adoptive parents or caregivers who are new and maybe, you know, are hitting some walls when it comes to behavior, or just, you know, how do I engage or connect with my child or this child that's going to be in my home for a temporary period of time. And so we get to just come together, learn together. I attended these before I was a staff member here, and they were just so helpful to be a part, to hear from other people, to hear from other parents who are doing it right now is a big, big part of what we want to do. We want to provide community, right? How do we get community that understands, that gets it, that's somewhere to just a soft place to land, which is a part of our value stack, soft place to land when things get hard. And so we really enjoy that. We facilitate those conversations. Our trainers here facilitate those conversations, but it really is about getting that discussion time between parents and caregivers who are doing it right now. And then our last one is babysitting. This is my, you know, current baby program. And so I'm really excited about it. But a few years ago, we were in a couple of meetings with the state and hearing about, you know, this foster care crisis that we're having in Texas. And one of the things that came up, one of the statistics, is that over 50% of foster families quit within the first year, right? Either after the first placement or after the first year of fostering. And a big part that they had referenced was that they didn't feel like they had the support. And when they say support, they specifically mentioned childcare. So, you know, how do I just get a break? How do I get, you know, a couple of days to myself or a couple of hours to myself a week? Or, you know, I think sometimes when you're fostering, you feel like you can't ask for help because, you know, this is something that you entered into. And so a lot of these families were getting burnt out within the first year. So the way that we figured that we could do that is the certification process, because of, you know, licensing rules and stuff, to watch a child who is in foster care can be pretty daunting. There's a lot of paperwork involved, some background checks, references, all of that. And there was just so many families that would start and end the process before it was completed, before they were certified, because it can be pretty, you know, pretty taxing to do all of that and not know where to go. You know, where do I go to get my fingerprinting? Where do I go? Where do I send my background check information? And so what we did was we streamlined the process. We put it together. We came together with 14 of the agencies here in the greater Austin area and said, all right, what can we all agree on that is an absolute must for every single one of your agencies? And then how can we take some of that paperwork process off of your plates as an agency, because agencies are constantly getting those questions, but not knowing, you know, or they know where to go, but it, you know, to do that with one person over and over is pretty, can be kind of a yeah. And so what we do is we walk people through that process ourselves. And so we said, all right, on top of these things, if you're okay, we're going to add in some training, right? So there is some agencies required training, some didn't, but we wanted to make sure that the people caring for kids in foster care were getting that additional training to equip them to be good stewards of the time and their time with these children. And so they go through the paperwork process with us. They walk through with either one of our staff members or a paperwork guide. But then on kind of training day, what we call training day, they also get an additional hours of trauma-informed training. So why do these kids need to be cared for differently? What could you see? What are some potential setbacks because of the way that loss and trauma affects children and our brains and our bodies and beliefs and behaviors? What are some of the ways that you might interact differently, or maybe just changing our mindset of like, what does this child need, and not, oh, they're having just this big meltdown or whatever it is.
Right.
And so we really truly believe that, as anyone who goes through one of our programs for these 14 agencies is equipped more than just, oh, I'm certified and background checked, right? They have an additional level of experience, of hopefully compassion. We're big on what we build, and we believe everything we've done is compassion. And so that is a big part of what we do. And we have one more training this year, but we've had 5 this year. So
huge. It's a big difference. So on helping them be successful, right? Just signing up for something doesn't mean they know how to do it, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I love that you've zeroed in on the cause of the attrition. That's brilliant. That is brilliant. So I've worked some with settlement home for children, and I know that they have a lot of foster parent support and training.
That is where I did my residential years. So spent 3 years there. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I was actually on a group with several organizers that went and organized the three houses where the residents live.
Yeah.
So that was that's a very special place.
If you ever heard Moody, that was my cottage when I was a house parent. So Moody Cottage.
Yes. The one that we did Moody, and anyway, the 3. So great. Again, with systems, right? Anything that can be repeatable. And that was one of the main things about when we organized those offices, such that someone else could come in and take over for a while and know where things were. Some systematizing makes a huge difference. So just that's sort of like life, right? Okay, so talk about, last year, May 13th, pretty much, or March 13th for most of us. What changed and how did you handle it?
Absolutely. So I've been here about a year. And so I came in a little kind of in the middle of everything and how they were transitioning here at Fostering Hope. But one of the things, and obviously there was challenges and difficulties, and what are we going to do? We had just begun this babysitting program the year before, and it had gotten so much excitement and involvement. And so then we were like, how do we keep up? Because one thing about fostering, right, and adopting is those don't end just because the world shuts down. Foster parents still have kids, and especially when schools shut down and everything. So foster parents were still at home with their children, and we knew that there was still this need of really these 2 programs: the parent support, which used to be in person, and the babysitting program. And so all of those, we wanted to continue them. And so, of course, like everyone, we had to go via Zoom or via some sort of other platform. But what we're seeing and what we saw over this last year, especially with our babysitting program, is that Region 7, which is the area that we serve, is actually pretty big and pretty wide. And so the farther out that we were going, that there were foster families and people wanting to get involved, grandparents of families who were fostering that maybe weren't going to be able to drive down and do a whole full day training here in Austin. Same thing with parent support. These parents wanted to be involved, wanted to get advice, wanted to get support and discussion and community, but they weren't able to come for an hour lunch break on a Thursday every other week.
Right.
And so really moving to that format of via Zoom, and we're planning our next year already. And I think a lot of what we're doing is we're planning to keep those on online platforms to be accessible for people who still need that community, but maybe far away. For parent support, we have a couple of parents who have called in for support with teens, and one was in California, the other one is in Puerto Rico doing it, with one of her kids who she adopted out there. But you still live in Austin in US and remembered, getting that support. And so we're able to really invite people into that space in a way that just, it is harder and you have to be more intentional, but it still gives that community. It still gives that ability to have somewhere to go. And sometimes as a parent, it's actually a lot easier to go to, someone who maybe doesn't know the full story or it isn't in the everyday, so that you can hear kind of an unbiased and, removed opinion or advice. Than what's going on every day. And so we really enjoy still being able to provide that for parents. And then babysitting, we've seen a lot of kind of our north region up towards Marble Falls and Belton get involved as well. And we've been able to train with organizations now who previously, we would have had to driven out there or flown out or whatever it is. We've been able to train for them as well and provide and really see that excellence of care is expanding into other organizations.
Fascinating, right?
Yeah.
Things that we never thought about.
Right.
Now, like, that makes so much sense. This is so much more convenient.
Right. And 2 years ago, we would have been like an online platform.
Oh, no way. No way. So yeah, it wasn't all bad. So that's great. That's super, super, super. Well, now is my favorite part for you guys, because tell us all the ways that you would love to have support from the community through donations, volunteers, attending your events, all of it.
Absolutely. So a big thing that we do is events. We love our events. So we do have other ways for people to get involved if they'd like to volunteer at events. Absolutely. We always need someone to do some hospitality, some setup, some tear down. We are going slowly back to in-person. We have one more in-person event this year. So far, as long as things go well. And we do socially distance, and we want to respect everybody's comfortability for sure. But other than that, attending our events, we love to, event is kind of how Fostering Hope began, with the big Future in a Hope conference 15 years ago. And event planning is really a big part of like what we like to do. So if you ever wanted to attend, we do compassion building trainings, which is really the basics of trauma-informed care. What does it look like? Why is this important? Why do we think this needs to be in schools and churches and families and all of that? So come hear about it, see why we've been chosen to do this. But then also, of course, we always ask, we are a faith-based organization. We love when people pray and just join us in that. Go on our page and sign up to get our newsletters, hear what we're doing, all the fun things, engage with us on social media. And then, like I said, volunteering, there's events. So for people who want to do kind of one-time events, we also really like to connect people with programs that are already going on. So if you want to babysitting is a volunteer job, right? You can go through our program and we can help you get connected with a foster family in your area. That is a big one that we want people
to
that
on your Instagram. So definitely go follow the Facebook and the Instagram for Fostering Hope, because I saw lots of what you're talking about, very well organized out on Instagram.
Yep, it's all on there.
I am Fostering Hope.
I am fosteringhope.org. Absolutely. So our babysitting is coming up in December. So December 11th, we do close it a couple of weeks early because it does involve background check and some other things that take some time. So it's a little hard to do. We encourage people to get signed up early because they can get started on that paperwork process right away. As soon as you get the email, it has some checklists.
Paperwork.
I know. And it's daunting. And if you have not been, we always laugh about the acronyms in foster care world, right? If you're not super familiar with it, it can get a little confusing to go, wait.
Another language. Need a dictionary for it?
Something like that. We actually have that. We have an acronym list too, just because it is a
Sure.
big part of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we love for people if they have a heart to serve families, but maybe don't want to foster or aren't ready to foster and adopt, or that's not where they feel called to, then jump in and support a family who is. We also have ways to support our families who are being reunified that we're working with in the court system. So you can sponsor them, as they're going, or if you're a family who's kind of done this and would want to even walk alongside a family like that, we recruit and vet and interview volunteers for that as well. And so we want to, as we, there's so many pillars in the foster care system and the child welfare system that we really want to do what we do well in each one of those spaces. And so there's a space, if you're passionate about prevention, if you're passionate about foster care, adoption, aging out youth, there is ways to get involved that we can connect you with. We have once a month, we have something called I Said Yes, which is really just a high level overview of the 5 needs of foster care. And so if somebody is just, I know I want to get involved, something about this is attractive, but I don't know how, come to that. And this is all on the website, so they can come to that and hear about those 5 needs, those 5 ways to get involved. What is it? Ask all the questions you want. Julie or one of us will do it, who has been a part of this system for a long time. And so feel free to jump on there and ask all the questions and find your space in this. We truly believe everyone can do something. And then I think that last way is to join our team. We are looking for a couple of positions right now. So we have a communications position open and an operations position open as well. And so if anyone is looking to do any of those things and be in this realm, and for, if you're passionate about foster and adoptive world, give us a call. There's all the information is on our website.
Terrific. Wow, that was a lot of good ways. Wow. So I didn't tell you this earlier, but I'm just going to throw it at you. Can you tell just a sweet story that kind of just makes you smile when you think about the work that you get to do? Some moment with someone that just really meant something and just kind of really embodies what you guys are doing.
Sure. I feel like there's so many. I think personally,
everybody says that, and I love that. That is the best answer. So
I think because, I'm sorry, what were you?
They'll all be great. Anything would be great.
I think personally, I'll share a personal story. Like I said, I've been volunteering and attending these events for years. And so I was introduced to trauma-informed care, TBRI, that kind of thing, once I had moved here. And so I'm an adoptive parent, and my adopted daughter, when she came home, she was 16 and she's 18 now. And they really, the part of what we talk about here is just time, right? This time, this consistency. You're not going to, sometimes we don't see these things work right away of trauma-informed care, right? And these interventions that we use. And, I had used these things in residential treatment centers and emergency shelters and seen the little things over time. But now as we're going, and it's been a couple of years, and this is something that we really live our lives by. It's not just something that we do, it's what we believe in, being able to just view things in a different lens, because that's what trauma-informed care is being informed in the way that we change our thinking. And it's not always about, and people don't love this, but it's not always about children's behavior changing, but our parent mindset changing. And so I will just say that, it's been a couple of years now, and we have more good days than bad. And it wasn't always like that. I'll say that it was not good day, bad day. That's probably a hard thing to explain, but there was days that it just felt like more energy.
Easier or rougher? Yeah.
Sure. Easier or rougher. And I would say the last 6 to 8 months, right? And this is after a year and a half of intentional care through COVID, through lots of things, through ups and downs. Personally, I tell people I've seen it happen, and it is about staying consistent and changing our mindset as parents. And then all of a sudden you realize, hey, we haven't had a rough day in a while. This is something. And I will just say, I truly enjoy my teenager, which is sometimes hard to do. If anyone parents teenagers, But like I actually enjoy being with my daughter now, and that's something that I had a really hard time with in the beginning, through the rough days, over and over. And I will say it was because of what we teach, because of what we do here, because of being in this space with these people who understand it. I mean, there is something about being around people who get it and don't judge people who are going through that hard season, because it happens.
Mhm.
And so I wish I could go into, that's her story, so I won't go into so much more, but
But yeah,
just as a parent, being able to enjoy and see that preciousness in your child after rough seasons is I'm gonna tear up, but it's just it's good. It's good, and it works to show up and keep showing up and to change the narrative that they live, is a blessing of a place to be in, for sure.
thank you for sharing that. I know it was very personal, and that I think that people listening, especially those who maybe have tried to foster in the past and just didn't have the tools, just
Mhm.
knowing that there's a better way it can be done, and then the story comes out beautifully like that. So from putting in the work, I don't
Yes.
think anybody
Yes.
expects like that's perfect.
Oh
No,
yes, definitely intentional work, but
yeah,
it's a lot easier to do when you're surrounded by people who've
yeah,
done it before.
yeah. Thank you so much for your time. It's just always amazing to hear just what's going on out there, and just knowing the beautiful work you're doing, and the ways that if it was working for you, it's working for lots. And I love the different levels that you're addressing, and unifying families, trying to get families reunified. Whew. Again, you're giving tools, and that's just a great way to approach it. So thank you.
Thank you for having us, Ryan. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time. And I want to thank everyone watching for your time, because that is very limited, and sharing and liking all the socials, going to the website, seeing what might interest you. The holidays are coming. Oh my gosh, it is the best clutter-free gift to support a nonprofit in honor of someone that you love. And I mean, I can't think of a better way. So, consider that as we get closer to the holidays. And so I have a YouTube channel called Nonprofit Shoutout Interview. Go watch a couple of those. Um, Subscribe while you're there. Ding. And anyway, so share this to your personal page as well. It's going to speak to someone that you don't know. And so that ripple effect is super important. So again, thanks everyone for their time, especially Jordan. Thank you so much for what you do on a day-to-day basis. What you do on a 24/7 basis. Much love to both you and your daughter. I'm adopted as well, so it speaks a lot to my heart as well, just knowing the beautiful gift of adoption. So anyway, thanks everyone. Have a fantastic day. Next week, I will be talking to a nonprofit called Vela, and they work with families whose children have disabilities. So I look forward to hearing how they are supporting that community as well. So anyway, so thanks, Jordan, and thanks everyone for watching. Have a great day. If you're in the Austin area, enjoy this beautiful weather. It is amazing. Thank you. Bye-bye, Facebook.